You're just in time for the Johnny Brew Show.
What's going on, everybody? My name is John Brookhagen, host of the Johnny Brew Show, and welcome back. It's the weekend of July 25th or something like that, 26th, June. I always get my months mixed up. Sorry. It's about June 26th or something like that. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Cos Effect. Adam Cosweiner is a very multi-dimensional patriot. He teaches children and adults as well capoeira, which is a form of self-defense, and also has the tenets of most martial arts of self-discipline and stuff like that, camaraderie. And he's also a nutritionist. He is actually the current nutritionist, or he's the nutritionist of the current heavyweight champion of the UFC, among other past champions of the UFC. And you know, it doesn't matter about who he's helped in the past. All that you need to know is that he loves his country and he's as good as it gets. So if you're looking for a nutritionist, he offers Chef Cos, offers pre-made meals and stuff like that. You know, I'm not really into that sort of thing. So I'm sure you guys who are into it know what I'm trying to talk about with the pre-packaged, pre-made, wholesome, nutritious meals. Yeah, it sounds really good. That's chefkas.com. CHEFKAS.com. He also does something else. I forget what it is. He's a nutritionist. Oh, he's a chef. So if you're having a private party, he does like Thanksgiving stuff and Christmas dinners, and he delivers it to you, or you pick it up, or he'll come to your house and cook for you. Like I said, chefkas.com. If you need anything, check him out. Tell him the Johnny Brew Show sent you. So this is season 2 with the beautiful new studio. This is episode 3, part 3. And we're going to talk a little bit about our favorite women on the left side. We're going to be talking about Jen Psaki, her ethics, journalism in general. And then, of course, we got the border czar, one of the strongest women in our great country. And she's going to actually go to the border. Probably because she had to beat Trump there, being that we're 3 or 4 months into this thing. Trump is going to go on like January 30th as an invitee of Governor Abbott. And Florida, a couple other states are sending some troops to help Texas, because Texas says in their Constitution and in the United States Constitution that if the federal government doesn't protect Texas from invasion of any kind, whether it's pregnant women or soldiers, either way, when you have thousands of people pouring across your border and the federal government isn't doing their job to stem the flow, then it's up to the states to do it themselves. And Abbott has a plan to build a wall, his own wall. Obviously, he's not going to build a wall in California, but he's going to be building a wall in Texas, which has the largest border with Mexico. DeSantis, along with a couple other governors, are sending some, I don't know if it's National Guard or state police, but they're going over there to help him out. So Trump is going down there to bring awareness. And now, unbelievably, Kamala has decided to go down to the border, so we'll cover that as well. So let's start. Oh, also, I don't know if you guys saw yet, my son is here with me for a third segment. He's enjoying conversating about our culture, politics, and what's going on in the country. So welcome back. And this first clip is going to be Psaki. Oh, this is Psaki talking about how transparent and ethical her or Joe Biden's administration is as compared to other administrations of the previous 45 administrations. Guess where she thinks they rank in terms of ethics and transparency? All right, remember that answer as we play tape.
hiring?
Sure. Well, let me say first that we have the highest ethical standards of any administration in history. A number of ethics officials have conveyed that, and we're proud of that. We have also staffed up at an unprecedented pace, and this is the most diverse administration in American history. So we certainly expect that everyone will abide by those high ethics standards. That applies in how we operate. It also applies in how hiring is done.
Did you catch that? Let's go over it step by step. First of all, she says that the Biden administration has the highest ethics of any administration in the history of this great country. She says the Joe Biden administration is more ethical than George Washington's administration, than Abraham Lincoln's administration, than Franklin Delano Roosevelt's administration. Whoever your favorite president may be, whether it's, I always said George W. Bush II was a great president, not because he was so capable intellectually, but because he was really good at delegating and getting good people. Now, you may or may not think Dick Cheney is ethical. But for her to say that Biden and her represent the most ethical administration in the history of our 245-year-old country, that's got to be a joke, right? And then, being the most ethical administration ever in history, her answer to people doing the right thing is that they're just so ethical, we're going to trust them. We're just going to trust all the politicians. We're just going to trust the leaders of the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, the Army, Joint Chiefs of Staff, everybody. We're just going to trust them. Why? Because not only are they the most ethical, but because they are the most diverse. And what says ethics more than diversity? If you have somebody from all different ethnicities, how could you be corrupt? Right? Because African Americans, there's no corrupt African Americans. There's no corrupt Asian Americans. There's no corrupt Jewish Americans. There's no corrupt Pakistani Americans. As long as we have one person from each ethnic group, that guarantees ethics. We will do nothing wrong. So I feel great about that. Thank you. And I'm glad to know that possibly, in my opinion, the most inept and incapable administration in our history is also the most ethical. And the last part that I wanted to address. Just like the scientists that the government hires says that there's human-made climate change and the world is going to end in 12 years. And of the 3% who don't say that, they don't get their contracts renewed. So I think that's good motivation for the 97% to continue saying that. So all the scientists that they hire confirms that climate change is the existential number one problem facing America as a country. Also, the ethical, I guess they do have scientists that study ethicalness. And the scientists they hire to study ethicalness have confirmed to the Biden administration that they are indeed the most ethical administration in American history. So, bravo. I'm expecting an award of some sort, and maybe the New York Times could write some article on that and win another Pulitzer. Just like they won a Pulitzer for Russian disinformation, which turned out to be not true. And, write some fiction, win a Pulitzer, be considered the pinnacle of journalism. I'm impressed. This is another thing that Psaki said. Now, I've said in the past that these politicians, especially these progressive politicians, tend to project. Like a lot of the worst accusations they make are projections. And a lot of times the things that they heap upon themselves, like being the most ethical administration ever, is usually like the antithesis of the truth. Well, you tell me what you think as you hear this clip, and I might ask you to play it more than once. Play.
Stand your ground is my only advice to you.
Don't worry. I'm also not going to allow the briefing room to be a forum for propaganda or false information. So there's...
Oh! Jen Psaki is not going to let the briefing room become a source of propaganda. That's all I hear from the White House briefing room is propaganda and her circling back and talking around and BSing the questions by the singular journalist in the room, Ducey. Otherwise, oh my God, Jen, it's so nice to see you. Can we get a cookie that looks like Kamala? You know, I mean, like, this is what the press room has become. But that's not propaganda. And them telling us that we cannot even address hydroxychloroquine, telling us that we cannot even address the lab leak theory until, we cannot, I know you gave me soda, and we cannot even address the fact that Hunter Biden's laptop turned up in Rudy Giuliani's office. We can't address any of that. They suppress the press, yet she's not going to let propaganda. Can you play that again? I must have misheard that. This is Jen Psaki telling us about propaganda in the briefing room. Maybe I misheard it. Play tape.
Cares if you get a call back today. So stand your ground is my only advice to you.
Don't worry. I'm also not going to allow the briefing room to be a forum for propaganda or false information. So there's...
Wow. And you could see the journalist, you know, those are some really hard-hitting questions. Jen Psaki there is under the bright lights of tough questions and grueling interviews, and she's doing a really good job, and she won't let propaganda or misinformation infiltrate the White House briefing room. What do you think about Jen Psaki? You got any opinion? I mean, she's a redhead ginger like you. You gotta have a connection with her, right?
Not really, besides the hair. I mean, she always talking about circling back, and every time she gets a tough question, that's all I ever hear. And, it doesn't seem like she's really prepared sometimes.
For the obvious question.
Yeah, and, it's just like half the time the press will ask, like, what flavor ice cream Joe Biden's getting, or how the dogs are doing in the White House, when during Trump, every question was something
brutal.
Serious.
Yeah, instead of one against the president in 19 forum, when Biden's here, when Trump was president, we had, that Kayleigh McEnany. What do you do? Compare Kayleigh McEnany or possibly your next governor, Miss Huckabee Sanders. Compare them with Jen Psaki.
I feel like Kayleigh is always really prepared and knew what to say, knew how to respond, and I felt like she was a really good press secretary for us.
And what do you think about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who has already declared her candidacy for governor of Arkansas?
I haven't really listened to her that much, so I don't really know too much about her. But
you're going to turn 18 in October, and there's no election now, so 2022 you're going to get to vote in your first election.
Yeah.
Your first vote might go to Miss Huckabee Sanders, so you better open up your ears.
Yeah.
All right, and then part two of this segment, we wanted to talk about Kamala going to the border. Why do you think Kamala's going to the border?
I feel like it's partly because Trump said he's going down there, and she doesn't want to be she doesn't want him to get there first and be like, Kamala isn't here, And I feel like it's kind of sad because she not going until Trump said he was going.
Sounds like more of playing politics than addressing a problem.
Yeah, I don't really know if that's the real reason or not, but it kind of does seem like that. But
well, let's see what she says is the reason why it took her so long to visit the border, and I don't know. Does she have any plans to go to Europe?
Well, I don't know about that, but she didn't. I don't even think she went to the border facilities. I heard she went to El Paso or.
Oh, and she's already left? It was a one-day trip?
I don't know.
I know, we have some coverage of her arriving, and I looked to see if we had any updates. I didn't find much, but yeah, she, we'll expand upon it after we hear her response as to why it's taken her so long to visit the border. Play tape.
That right now was the right time to make your first trip to the border.
Well, it's not my first trip. I've been to the border many times.
As the person in charge of the response.
So, the important aspect of this visit is leading this visit after the work that we did in Guatemala and Mexico. Because as I've long said, I said back in March I was going to come to the border, so this is not a new plan. But the reality of it is that we have to deal with causes and we have to deal with the effects. So being in Guatemala, being in Mexico, talking with Mexico as a partner, frankly, on the issue, was about addressing the causes, and then coming to the border at the advice and actually the invitation of the Congresswoman is about looking at the effects of what we have seen happening in Central America. And so I'm glad to be here. It was always the plan to come here, and I think we're going to have a good and productive day.
Guys, this 57-second clip I just played for you is the prime example of why Kamala Harris had less than 1% of the presidential vote when she was one of the candidates for president. Less than 1% even in our home state of California. Nobody has ever voted for Kamala to hold any sort of national position. No, her numbers are not good. And this 55 seconds is a perfect example of why nobody likes her. She is so unprepared, unpersonable, unable to accentuate a point, and I don't need, it's not anything in particular. It's just the way she handles herself in public, her hand gestures. Thankfully, she didn't laugh too much. But the way she answers questions, her demeanor, and it might not even be her fault. Joe Biden has a stutter, and it's not necessarily his fault or whatever. And to be honest, his stutter doesn't bother me too much. But this could just be who she is, and she's just either got a knack for public speaking or for explaining things. And she's just so incredibly unpersonable, and unlikable. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But speaking of the congresswoman who invited Kamala to the border, as if she needed I've been inviting Kamala to the border. She didn't come. This is, the girl from El Paso. Let's hear what she has to say.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to El Paso. Welcome to my community, to the new Ellis Island, to the capital of the border. I am standing before you with a heart full of gratitude. Madam...
Wait. What did she... I keep replaying these things, and I always prove to hear them correctly the first time, but maybe I'm crazy. El Paso has thousands of illegal immigrants crossing into our country illegally every single day. And did she just call that same city the new Ellis Island? Ellis Island, where people came to Ellis Island after being on a ship anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months, going through everything they had to go through to make the trip here to legally become U.S. citizens. And she's comparing the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island to the broken wall and people crossing the Rio Grande, and some of them drowning and getting raped on the way and paying off drug cartels to smuggle them into El Paso. Is she saying that is the equivalent of Ellis Island? I mean, that could quite possibly be as idiotic a comparison as saying a voter ID law is Jim Crow 2.0. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I agree. I see a lot of statistics about crime, going down a lot after Trump started the wall and the crossings slowing down. And I see that has some sort of correlation. And,
Really? Well, I got a retort to that. But first, I wanted to hear what she had to say. Can you play it again? I'm sorry I interrupted her. And when you're listening, triple check and make sure she just called El Paso the capital of illegal border crossings if she refers to that as the new Ellis Island, because I still don't believe it. Play tape.
The border. I am standing before you with a heart full of gratitude. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to El Paso. Welcome to my community, to the new Ellis Island, to the capital of the border. I am standing before you with a heart full of gratitude. Madam Vice President, thank you for being here. So grateful with Secretary Mayorkas, to Chairman Durbin, and to all of you for making the...
She did say that? That is disgusting. All right, well, these people are not... They don't have our country's best interest at the forefront. This girl right here with her, she sounds more like a spokesperson for a used car commercial. But I don't feel like they're down there ready to take care of business and to make sure that we secure this border. She's calling it the Ellis Island. I don't think that her number one priority is to close it off. She seems super proud. That's obviously not what we're looking to get from our representatives when they go down to visit the border, to brag about how many people are coming in and call it the new Ellis Island. Maybe I'm in bizarro world. And now you're talking about Trump last year and crime was down in these border cities such as El Paso, and which are predominantly a Hispanic population who, for the first time in a while, predominantly voted Republican and voted for Donald Trump, even though, all of these progressives seem to think that all of the Hispanic community is voting Democrat and wants illegal aliens to be flooding our border. So you said that Trump took care of some stuff and crime was down. This is what Kamala Harris has to say regarding that. Play tape.
Administration, it is important to be clear, is working to build a fair and a functional and a humane immigration system. We feel very strongly about that. And as you know, we inherited a tough situation. In fact, right here in El Paso was the launch of the child separation policy. You saw it as it rolled out on the ground in real time. We have looked at a system where people have been housed in inhumane conditions over the last many years. An asylum system that has been broken and that needs to be reconstructed. And in 5 months, we've made progress, but there's still much more work to be done. But
if you consider record numbers of people flooding over the border, both caught and released, and just sneaking in the gotaways that never even get documented whatsoever, if that's a success, then you've made a lot of success in the last 5 months. You're right. Second, an asylum process that was broken. Trump had to stay in Mexico or stay in your own country, and we will contemplate your asylum claim. That was fixing the asylum problem. That wasn't a broken situation. Everything Trump did, even if you're talking about the child separation policy, first of all, we're all aware, well, I guess most of the progressives who buy this line of BS aren't aware that a majority of the children who came over here were either unaccompanied or were with adults who were not their biological parents. They were some sort of undercover coyote or whatever the case may be, or being sex trafficked, and the sex trafficker was pretending to be the parent. Most of these kids were not traveling with their parents, number one. Number two, you should, if you're a parent and you take your child illegally across a raging river or climb a wall or do something illegal, if I was with my son and I robbed a bank, they would separate me from my son. If I was with my son and I got into a fist fight Or if I was with my son and I shoplifted a diamond watch. I mean, when you do something illegal, you get separated from your children. And if he doesn't have a mom, then he goes into the system. And if he has another parent, he goes with the other parent. That's how we've dealt with criminals, people who do illegal things for like ever, I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you go ahead.
Because a lot of people don't know, but like Trump was trying to, I'm pretty sure he signed a bill or did something to help kids find their parents that were crossing illegally and things like that. And he also was working to like fix DACA. I think that's how you pronounce it. But
right. The deferred action.
Yeah, and he was trying to expand that and like help more people. And he was doing a lot to like help the people that were coming, and then, Well,
the progressives were all about DACA until Trump said, you know what? Help me build a wall and stop the flow of illegal immigration. I'll help you work out this DACA situation, because obviously Obama, the first word in it is deferred. I mean, if there's ever been an accusation of kicking the can down the road for somebody else to deal with, it's right there. The first word of the action is deferred, like put it off. And what's Obama going to do about it now? Nothing. I mean, he's going to badmouth Trump or any conservative, and he's going to talk up any progressive and try to get them, their citizenship or whatever. But all he did was he literally deferred the situation. I mean, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand what their end goal is. Like, for example, Kamala was there. She's speaking about being at the border now, and they're still just bad-mouthing Trump, but never, ever a solution, not even a goal. It seems like their goal is just to process as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, and just get them into America. And you're talking about at least 2 million people in 2021 if they don't stop it right now. And let me tell you, if Kamala is at the border and she's not stopping it right now, they're not going to stop it. It's just going to keep going. That's 2 million people. All right? Our illegal immigrant population is going to expand exponentially. And what are we supposed to do? There's nothing we can do about it. There used to, when I was like a little kid, I remember there used to be like bounty hunters on the border, like making sure nobody crosses the border onto their property and stuff like that. I mean, I know they don't do that anymore, but that means nobody's doing anything. What is anybody doing to stop this? I mean, if this goes on for 4 years, you're talking about 10 million people for the 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency. I mean, at some point, it starts to change the entire complexion of our entire nation. And, we're not bringing in rocket scientists and social workers. We're bringing in, laborers and, and sometimes, now I'm starting to sound like Trump when he was called the biggest racist ever, but some criminals, MS-13, some bad hombres. That's what Trump used to say. But, my point is we're not getting physicians crossing the Rio Grande. We're not getting rocket scientists. We're not getting infectious disease experts. So you're really just watering down our lower income and entry income people, which is going to hurt the economically disenfranchised, the person of color communities, the minimum wage communities, the labor communities. The elites aren't going to be affected. It's not like the leader of some political action committee is going to lose his job because 30 dudes from Mexico just snuck in over the border. But that kid that's looking for his first job at Wendy's, or that other kid who's looking to do some landscaping or roofing or plumbing, they're going to lose their jobs, their opportunity to enter the workforce, because there's just such an influx of unskilled labor. I really hope, Trump is going to be there. We're going to cover his visit on the next weekend's episode. So I'm hoping, again, I said it last week, I say it all the time, I'm not praying for Joe Biden to fail. I don't want to say I told you so. I want what's best for the country. And I would be the first person to commend Joe and Kamala and Psaki if they turn off the faucet. You know, if your bathtub's flooding, you're not going to go run and fix the hole. You're not going to look for the root cause of the problem. You're not even going to fix the hole. You're going to turn off the water first. Then you're going to fix the hole. Then you're going to look at the root causes of what may have created the hole. I mean, this is just basic common sense, which I feel like we've entirely lost, especially with this highest of ethical standards administrations in history of the United States. All right, my name is John Brookhagen. We're going to be right back with another segment. What are we going to be talking? Oh, we're going to be talking about gun control and the Second Amendment. I mean, that's something that's been becoming to the forefront. It looks like the next freedom that they want to take away from us. And a lot of people say without the Second Amendment, you don't have any of the amendments, because the Second Amendment is what enables us to protect us and ensure that we continue to have the rights outlined by the Constitution. So stay tuned for that. I hope you checked out our video interview with Valeria Gur, the the school choice advocate. And don't forget to check out The Meltdown with Darian Anthony, and keep your eyes peeled for The Rick Charles Show. All right, my name is John Brookhagen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in just a moment.